Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, back on F1 2020 once again, and we are back for some league racing in TSRL, and I think it's round 13 in this championship. We're live at Hungary, a track I actually surprisingly really enjoy on this game. Before I did it in WR, I really thought I wouldn't be that fast around here, but after doing some laps, I felt really good, and as always between WR and TSRL, I always seem to make a fairly big time gain, especially in the race, as I did for this one, and I definitely felt that was the case in coming to here. But also coming into here, I have a pretty decent championship lead at this stage, which I feel definitely could have been more, but it definitely could have been worse as well. So it's a pretty decent margin, and the case is now is just to get wins back on track, and despite some of the things I've faced recently, just to have that consistency and just that positive thinking. And so far in this session, you can see we managed to get through Q1 pretty comfortably, but now this is actually quite an important part of this, not race weekend, but this round, is what tyres you start the race on, because if you start on softs, you're going to be at a pretty big disadvantage quite early, whereas if you can get through on mediums to Q3 and then use the softs as qualified, like on the front row or something, then you're in an extremely good position. And WOR, I qualified in the top 10 on mediums with quite a good lap, as I almost lose it here my first lap. But yeah, the thing is, I was out of position. But if I started at the front, this strategy really works if you're near the front of the race. So that's what I was really planning coming into this race. I felt like my qualifying speed was really strong. I did a 12.6 as a PB coming into this. I did a 0.7 pretty consistently. So qualifying recently has been really good. I've definitely made my setups a lot more aggressive, and it's definitely paying off in the qualifying, because I feel in the race with my driving style that I'm able to look after the tyres quite well and normally keep it quite consistent, so it doesn't really impact my race pace at all. But I just needed to go from a bit more of an understeery setup to a bit more of an esports style aggressive setup, where before the setups I was using, they were very stable, very easy to drive, but to get the peak lap time, it would have to be an almost perfect lap. Whereas now with these setups, it's a lot more aggressive, a lot more pointy, goes really where I want it. Sometimes a little bit too much as my teammate is spun out there. But it means that I don't need to actually hit a perfect lap, but the car is just going to rotate so much more than it would do normally. And this lap here had a little bit of traffic, but that hasn't impeded me too much. And I've actually gone out at the start of the session as well, because I wanted to see what my competition and rivals would do. And going across the line, it's a 14.2, but still with about 10 minutes to go in this session, that's not a bad time, because the track actually really evolves throughout the session itself. So I wasn't really too disappointed, but you can see I'm currently in P9, and I've gone out again on the soft tyres because I wasn't sure if that would be enough. And you can see some people in the memes have beaten me, because as I said, the track does get quite a bit faster. But coming off the last corner, I knew now that I had got through, because I was one of the last people to cross the line. I made sure I timed it, so I was the last soft run to cross the line. So I knew that that was enough to get through, and that is a huge thing, because I don't want to be starting on softs at all. As JQB, my main rival in the championship, has actually started, well, he has to start on softs wherever he comes in Q3, and my other rival Leopard as well, and Felipe, I think they're on mediums as well, so they did a good job to get through. But now this is my first attempt in Q3. I had two sets of tyres luckily on the soft, so going through into here now, this chicane is very tricky, and just a little bit wide has caused this track invalidation, and it's very harsh around here. So now this is a pretty nerve-wracking moment, because I'm in P10, and if I don't do this lap, I'm going to start P10 on medium tyres, which is like what I did in WR. So it's crucial that I get a lap on the board here, and the first sector is okay at the moment, but going through this lap, the main priority really was to make sure I just get a lap in, and I went pretty wide there, so not a good exit. This is not really a good sector 1. This is well over a 10th down of what my PB is. My PB is a 150 or something like that, so it's over a 10th down. Making up some time in these corners here, but I was just really conscious that I can't afford to invalidate this lap. I have to get through here, so I'm being very cautious through here, and you can see the delta reflects that. Didn't really make up any time here. Gone a little bit wide on this apex and a bad exit as well. So overall, this lap is not actually very good so far. And again, being very cautious through here. I just needed to get a good lap on the board, and that's what I was talking about. This setup allows me to not hit a perfect lap and still be quite fast. Because if I was using an understeer run, we'd probably be in quite a bad position here, like I was at Austria. And coming off this 5 corner, we're not actually going to improve my invalidated lap, but it's still enough for a 12-2, despite those mistakes. It just shows how fast the setup is. It was really, really good around this track, and overall, that has actually put me P3, which was a massive, massive clutch up in the end. As my rival, Jakey B, has actually invalidated all his laps, so he's starting P10 on soft tyres. So overall, that was a very, very good qualifying session for me. But now moving into the race, the formation lap wasn't actually set on. So normally this would be a formation lap at this point, but the lights are ready, and luckily I was actually ready here. So we got 5 lights, and as they go out, thankfully I was sitting on my seat, because quite often I'm not ready here, and we get a pretty decent start on the medium tyres as Ron. His connection is being quite unpredictable at this stage, but going into the Haas off of Lipe, I think, has made contact. He's a championship rival, -1. He's got damage, I think. So we've gone back to P4. Leopards, my other rival, has actually gone into the lead, benefiting from this as the 2 rounds going side by side. And going to the right hand, almost making contact, and there is a massive, massive lag moment between myself and Ron here, or Ron Ha. It's unfortunate for him, but on my screen I did not hit him, and you know, it could have been worse. So I've maintained position, and no, this is a good position to be in, to be honest. I actually felt quite happy with this, because I'm near the front of the race. Although Leopard's leading, I felt so fast in this race. With the setup, I really made a big improvement from the Monday race to this race, where I just had too much understeer. It wasn't really to do so much of a downforce, but I just had too much understeer. So now, cruising up to the back of VSR Dominic, who's on these soft tyres, who should be going off here now. Leopard is about 2.3 seconds down the road, but I just felt, you know, really good at this stage. I've still got quite a lot of ERS at the moment still to play with, so really just taking my time and just making sure it's going to be a nice clean pass to get past this runner. I've actually broken the DRS of Oxtez behind, so we're going to do a little bit of the ERS, but not too much here, and I don't think he's going to fight this too hard, because he knows that he would only be losing time himself. So we go up into P2, now chasing down LCR Leopard, who is obviously a very good driver, but I definitely felt like I had the pace around here, especially in the race particularly. It was really strong, really looked after my tyres well, and you can see we still have about 80% ERS on. Now it's gone down a little bit because I decided to push a little bit more just to put a little bit of pressure on him. Actually broken the DRS of VSR Dominic behind, as some people have retired from the race, and that's actually released a virtual safety car. So normally I make some bad strategic decisions, but I knew I had to go into the pits here, and I probably could have gone a bit quicker into the pits. I didn't need to respect the delta as much as that, but gone into the pits, and this is quite a good time to go to the end of the race on the hard tyres, because I knew the hard tyres could go to the end from the end of lap 7, beginning of lap 8. So this is good, and it was a no-brainer that I had to pit at this stage. So following my rival Leopard, not a full safety car, just a virtual safety car, returned to normal speed, so we can just go completely flat out now. And I think he has gained a bit of time, because I normally under restarts of virtual safety cars definitely can use a bit more time on the table, but we lost about half a second there, just over half a second. So yeah, but again, I still wasn't really panicking too much, because I know the race is very long, and my strategy here was just to really eat into his lead by not using as much ERS as possible. That was really the goal here. You can see we're not really using too much here. We are starting to gain a little bit of time now, so just really aiming to just apply that pressure constantly over time. You can see again, gained another 3 attempts this lap, and he's actually caught up to the back of Amazed OT, who has not pitted yet, I believe. I think he's on the hard tyres, I think, or medium tyres, if I can read that. I can never read that in my video editing software, but you can see they're really fighting very, very hard here, really trying hard, and he does not want to let him pass whatsoever. But Leopard eventually does just about get past, and Amaze has a penalty as well. I think he is on the medium tyres, if I can see that. So yeah, he hasn't pitted yet, and yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't as well if he is on the medium tyres. So yeah, we're coming up to the back of him, and yeah, it's yeah, let's talk through this then, shall we? So coming up to the back of him, I could see straight away, obviously when Leopard went past him, I could see he probably wasn't going to make it easy. And I think down this straight, it was pretty evident that he used quite a lot of the ERS. And ERS is very difficult to recoup around here. So yeah, I knew he probably wasn't going to make it easy. So I was definitely anticipating that, but you can see he is on the medium tyres, and the wear is really starting to go down now for him, because they don't really last that much longer than 20 laps or something. So going through into here, a bit frustrating, because I could see Leopard is starting to get away as I'm losing time behind him, but I was thinking to myself, just don't get damage, and just take your time, really, to be honest, because even if I didn't win this race, just being close to my rivals and stuff as well, it's consistency that is key. And you can see at the moment, as he goes out very wide, we are just really taking our time. So breaking into here, absolutely fine. I think he actually broke later than me going to here, and you can see he's being very aggressive going into this corner. So I'm just trying to set myself up for this last corner as much as I can. So taking a wide line, trying to go a bit earlier on the throttle, trying to get a good exit off here and using the DRS. And I think I quickly realised that I wasn't going to get past him going down to here. So really the plan again was just to make sure he uses his ERS, and then I'd really just get him on the next lap, because hopefully his ERS would just be really depleted. So as he brakes very late coming into here, and that seemed a little bit earlier than it was on the previous lap. So I was very wary of this. I know he's on older tyres as well, and maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure, but I cannot afford to get damage here. This is for my championship that I've worked so hard for. And again, he's braking very early, really early. And yeah, I don't think I need an introduction. You're about to hear some very frustrating moments, and yeah, so we're about to go into this right-hander, and I'll probably quickly pause the video, because just a pre-warning, turn down your headphones, and again, you will probably hear some language, but this is something I don't want to sugarcoat. This is something I just want to show you as this is what happened. So take a listen.
What is he doing, this guy? What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, so
get this fucking guy out.
Yeah, it's yeah.
What is he doing? Get rid of this fucking guy.
And yeah, you can hear what I'm saying here. And I've had a long time to look at this, and we'll probably have another little look at this once again shortly. So yeah, that has resulted in me having to go into the pits the lap later. But as I go into the pits, having to change my wing, because there's no way I can continue this race with this damaged wing. We have a safety car that has actually now come out now, and that is a godsend for me. That is something that could save my race completely. But yeah, we're going to look over this footage. I've had a long time to look at this, and I'll definitely be talking a little bit more about this incident at the end of this video as well. So if you want to stick around for that, then I'll give a bit more of a detailed explanation. But yeah, you can tell very frustrated, and at the time it was pretty devastating for me, but the safety car saved it. But let's have a look at this now. So this is the lap before. He goes very wide, and just something to take note of here. where he brakes, the first point of braking is quite a bit later, and that's where he does the full brake. So it's very, very close to the curb, and he releases the brakes quite a lot earlier on the previous lap. And at this stage, although being on mediums, he's defending very aggressively here. Now, the wear isn't going to be that significant at this stage, and yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind as we get on to lap 13. But something I also want to say as well is that I have no problem with people defending who haven't pitted yet, by the way. I have no problem because, as you saw, a safety car could come out and stuff as well. I have no problem whatsoever. I think what sometimes people have the issue with is just how you defend. And you can see here, he broke very, very early and kept on the brakes for quite a long time in turn 2 as well. So yeah, that definitely caught my attention. And he's running very, very low in the ERS as he gets another penalty. So that's 6 seconds of penalty. So clearly right now, he's under a bit of pressure and not completely comfortable. So that's what I was thinking at this stage. I was thinking, okay, he's going to be a little bit inconsistent in his braking and stuff. But yeah, we'll get to the moment of truth. So coming out here, going through this left-hander and going into this right-hander. This is where it's very, very important. And you can see the braking. If you do a screenshot of the previous, the application, the first part application is much, much earlier. And then the full point of braking, you can see there, yeah, it's much, much earlier. And you can see the brakes as well, the first point of releasing the brakes. He releases the brakes. Yeah, he keeps on the brakes for quite a long time. So I think what happened really there is, yeah, it's just that small difference in the braking. It doesn't sound that much, but when you're going 150 miles an hour behind someone, that stopping distance is really, really hard to anticipate. And
need to keep it positive to avoid a penalty.
Yeah, and I think you could hear from his footage there, the little bit of, don't know what that was in the background, but yeah, I'll save a bit more of a detailed opinion after this race, but make of that as you will. But at this point, I was kind of given another lifeline, and I was just thinking to myself, I still have an opportunity to get some big points in this race, because without the safety car, it would have been almost impossible to get points in this race. So coming through into here now, my base has actually got a little bit of damage, so I've managed to get past him, which I was a little bit relieved on, because I didn't want to have to deal with overtaking him again, quite obviously, because of the previous incident. Now I'm behind my teammate in P6, and he does something very, very noble here. He decides to let me go, because obviously me and Danny practice together quite a lot, and because of the championship and the position I was in, he really sacrificed his own race there, which I have to give an applause to, because he doesn't need to do that again. I'm not talking to him on the radio or anything whatsoever. He's made that decision himself, so full respect for him to doing that. And now that means I'm actually on the lead train in this race, and moving on to lap 22. It's getting a little bit spicy now. I think I've got Oxtez Jam Pancakes is in P2, and LCR Leopard and VSR Dominic. So some people have definitely benefited from this safety car here. And as I said, ERS is really, really difficult, as Dominic is making a very aggressive move on LCR Leopard. So I see this as an opportunity, and this could be me actually gaining points in the championship. So being squeezed a little bit to this outside here. I try and hold him on the outside. He actually runs into the back of the Renault, but gets away with it. He doesn't get any damage from that, which is very, very fortunate for him. I wasn't able to make that move stick, but I really don't think I could have done anything more other than that. So I'm just kind of sitting back here and just waiting for something to happen, because it's really, really hard to overtake. And as I always say, when you're in this DRS zone, it's really, really hard if you're not the second or the first man in the train, pretty much. So I've got KJ Gamer and Felipe behind me. Both have penalties as well, so I don't have to worry about them too much, really. And I don't think they'll be super aggressive with me either, because they know that I don't have a penalty, as Leopard is going down the inside once again. So Really aggressive driving from the Red Bull driver. Going into, he's actually been pushed on the grass. So I'm going to see this as the opportunity I need to try and get past my championship rival, leaving him just about enough room on the exit here. So I'm going to use a bit more of the ERS. It looks like he's got a bit more of a slippery car in a straight line. So going through into here, trying to outbrake him into turn one. Lean on him on the exit ever so slightly, just about leaving just about enough room. Just making sure he puts the wheel on the curb to really unsettle the traction. And it did. It's worked. I've actually got into P4 this race now, and the race is there for the taking. It's absolutely there for the taking now. So coming into this corner, I go a bit wide going through here, and this has allowed Leopard to go down the inside, pushes me out wide, and no, I have to say that was me, just a mistake there. That's allowed him to get back through, and to be honest, that's fair play from him. There's a little bit of argy-bargy, but you know, he's got to take the opportunity, especially around this track where it's so hard to overtake, and he took the opportunity, so fair play to him. And I wasn't angry about that at the time or anything at all. It's just a case of he just took the opportunity. So going into again, I think it's Dominic once again really pushing out wide. Jam, Pancakes, and Leopard has actually got both of them, like a replica of turn one here. So I'm trying to take the opportunity. Jam, Pancakes going through it, he just steamrolls his car into me, and again, really lucky I didn't get damaged there, I think, to be honest. And in that moment I wasn't particularly happy, but again, I think, to be honest, it was just on the limit. And no, I think I would be lying and other people would be lying if they said they haven't done that to someone before, especially when it's so hard to get these opportunities. You have to be forceful, and he was forceful, so he's managed to keep the position. I'm in P5 here. I'm still trying to gain him. He's defending very aggressively, so going against my old championship rival back from last season. And I have to say, he's driving really well this race. He's doing a very good race here. And again, parking his car in the middle of a track, there's nothing I can do there. You just can't overtake around this track. Only the main straight really is the opportunity that you can overtake, and we're not going to get it done on this lap here. So coming towards the end of lap 31, trying to get a good exit, because again, I felt like I definitely had the pace, but with the DRS and the ERS, it's just going to be so hard. So he's defending very hard. Once again here, I try and go around the outside, but a little bit ambitious this time, and pretty similar to what I did with Leopard. That's fair game, to be honest. I just couldn't do anything there on that occasion, because he's got to have the DRS on the switchback as well. So what I really need is for him to lose the DRS off the cars ahead. That's what I need to happen. But the thing is, they're fighting quite hard. It's going to be quite easy for him to stay in the DRS zone. So that's what I was really hoping for. If he loses the DRS, then I think it's going to be quite an easy pass to get from him off the last corner into turn one. But right now, I'm just trying to put as much pressure as I can on him. And you can see the front of the car is just washing away all the time, just through the dirty air. But we are following so closely, so closely. But there's nothing you can do. It's like a Monaco around this track with a little bit of runoff. It's really limited on how he can overtake. And Leopard has actually got into the lead of this race as well. So he's going to be scoring big points in this championship. And no, it's have to say, it's him who got the move done, and I didn't get it done. He's just been very forceful, so I'm trying once again. There's not going to be too many opportunities now, because since my ERS is going so low. So again, I'm going to let him have this corner and just go try and go for the switchback as much as I can. Make a bit of contact, and again, very lucky that I didn't get any wing damage there. And yeah, this is becoming very frustrating as we move on to the last lap of this race now. There is really not many opportunities left to go here. Definitely too far for a move back into turn one, and I just gotta hope throughout the rest of this lap that he makes a mistake or picks up a penalty or anything at all. As Leopard has managed to get away, I think showing the pace that I feel we could have showed if we got into the free air. We just can't get past anyone here. So saving a little bit of the ERS for the last sector. Still got a little bit of fuel to play with as well. So my mission now is just to try and be as close as I possibly can in this last sector. Just force a mistake from the Mercedes drivers. Going through into chicane, he goes in a little bit deep. We get a very good exit, almost pushing him through this left-hander, but he's going to go a little bit defensive into here, and with the dirty air, he just can't get on the throttle early enough. And now going through into his right hand, he goes a little bit deep here. So this is definitely the closest up we've been so far. So we're going to use a little bit of the ERS, but there's no way. Almost running into the back of the Mercedes once again, pushing him into the penultimate corner. He goes very defensive. We try and go around the outside, but he's got the move covered. And only one more corner to go. There's no real opportunity to go down the inside. And coming off this last corner, we're just going to use the rest of our fuel and our ERS, and we come home in P5 this race. And what a roller coaster of emotions that race was. And I have to say, Jam Pancakes, fair play for his defending, definitely on the limit, but that's what you have to do. So fair play to him, fair play to Leopard as well. And yeah, let's talk about that incident now. I think you see when I stream and stuff as well, it's most of the time I try my best to be composed and to try and set an example and stuff as well. But I think when you're streaming, especially when you do it twice a week like myself, it's sometimes when you keep on having bad moments go against you, which I've had definitely a string of some tough races recently. Sometimes things can really just escalate and just kind of pop off all at once. But regarding the incident itself, I feel pretty similar to what I felt happened, where I feel like it's hard for me to say because this is not something I want to say about a driver or anything. But I think looking at the evidence and the footage, I still come to the same conclusion that it was a very unnecessary thing from him, and I feel like he knew what he was doing, and that is just me being completely honest, in my opinion, and that's why I haven't apologized to him directly. The thing I do apologize for, though, is definitely the words I use, especially after the race and the Discords and stuff as well, which I'm sure a few people have seen, and also my reaction. Just jumping to the conclusion straight away there, and definitely swearing and stuff is not something I'm proud of or I promote or anything whatsoever. I think that showing emotion and frustration is something that you shouldn't apologize for, because I think that's just human emotion, and when you're passionate about something, I think you should always be transparent with people, and that's something I always kind of pride myself on, that I am transparent with people. And what you see is a genuine thing, and I'm not trying to hide my emotions or anything at all. But I think especially in the position I'm in, the great position I'm in, where I have a lot of people tuning and stuff as well, it definitely doesn't set the example that I want. So I apologize for the words that I did use. It's definitely could be phrased in a different way, and I would probably recommend myself to always just wait until the race is finished before making those accusations and stuff, not in the heat of the moment, but sometimes it's really, really hard. And I also apologize for the words I used after the race. And one thing I also want to say as well, which I know this is dragging a little bit, is I really don't condone people going to his social media, or if I'm involved in someone in an incident or something, going on their streams and trying to bring them down and stuff like that. That's something that is completely unacceptable, and it makes me very, very disappointed that people do that. And I know people do it with the intent to try maybe defend myself or anything at all, but that's not their job to do that, and that is just unacceptable. So please do not do that to anyone who's involved in it, myself or anything in the future, because I know how tough streaming is. It's not an easy thing to do. Although I love to do it, it's not an easy thing to do, and it puts a lot of pressure on you. And yeah, so overall I have the same thoughts. I feel that it was an intentional thing, in my opinion. That is just my opinion, and as I said, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that. If it really wasn't intentional, then I think I don't understand what the logic was on just trying to hold myself up, or Leopard as well, or any other one else. And when you're clearly not having a good race, or you're not being comfortable and stuff as well, it's something I don't like to say, but it just doesn't make any sense to me, in my opinion. I don't mind people fighting for their position, but I think you have to do it in the right way, and you have to know when it's the right time to do it or not. And yeah, so my frustration and emotion is something I think people shouldn't be afraid to show, but you have to do it in the right way. But again, yeah, you have to say the right things and just not jump to conclusions and stuff, and just try and promote in the right way. Definitely don't use the words I used and stuff, but that is what it is. So I have no hatred or anything personal against Connor, who is a Maze OT. I know he's a very good driver. I've raced with him for many years, actually, in fact, and I respect him. We both love the same thing. We have a passion for the same thing. But in that incident, I feel what I feel, and that's it, to be honest. So we move on. The steward's decision is actually that I've got a chat ban in Discord, which I completely agree with. There is no other bans or anything at all. It's a racing instance, so he didn't get a penalty. So I respect what the stewards say and everything, and I think that's the message here. You just got to keep it respectful as much as you can. Although there's so much emotion and passion, you've just got to keep it as respectful as you possibly can. So yeah, I will try and do my best for that in the future. But overall in the championship, lost a few points, but I know there's many more races to come where I feel very, very strong. So thank you so much for the support. I know not everyone's going to agree with the opinion or anything at all, but that is fine. That is no problem whatsoever. I think the only thing I stress is that you just have a healthy debate about it. And I know it's very easy to bring other people down, especially myself or anyone else as well, but always be mindful that people are just human beings at the end of the day, and that is it. So thank you so much for tuning in this video. Sorry, it's been a bit of a long one, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Peace.